Up here in a moment. Let me go ahead and get everyone checked in as well. So as I call your name, if you could just give me your full name and who you represent here today, whether you're the applicant, the owner, or a neighbor or some other party. So I'll start with Rob Thornton. Thornton, looks like there's two of you there. If you could unmute.
Yep. Rob and Kendra Thornton. We reside at the adjacent property at 3461 Windisch.
One. Okay. Great. Welcome. And then will the woman to your left there also be testifying today?
We're jointly participating. Yes, my wife Kendra.
Kendra, is that Kendra?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Also Thornton.
Yes.
Great. All right. Welcome, guys. I see we have someone under Jackie, it looks like.
Jackie Brum. I live 3 doors away from the property at 3499 Windisch.
And you said Brown?
Brum, B-R-U-M-M.
Great. Welcome.
Thanks.
And let's see, we have Greg Snyder here.
Yep. Greg Snyder, RDA Group Architects, representing the applicant.
Right. Welcome. And also Kate Meehan, who I know is from the city planning department.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, Kate. All right, on the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today? Or are we ready to proceed?
We can proceed.
Okay, great. I'm going to read through the hearing script. This basically just covers the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get started. So this is the June 26, 2024 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner. I'll be presiding over the hearing. Case before us today is case number ZH20240064. That is 3471 Windisch Avenue. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties the opportunity to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. Mr. Snyder, that'll be you today. Typically, just generally as an outline, some background on the project, what exactly it is you're proposing. Of course, the relief, the zoning relief that you need to complete the project, and then why you think that zoning relief that you need to complete the project is appropriate and why I should grant it. But generally, you can orient the presentation however you would like. It's completely up to you, but those are sort of some high level things that typically people cover. The public will then have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. I will allow Ms. Meehan from the planning department to provide any additional testimony on top of her staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony that was offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. The last thing I need to do here is to swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. If you're not certain at this time, I can swear you in later, but if you know you'd like to provide some comment today, I'm going to go ahead and swear all those people in now collectively. So if that's you, if you could take yourself off of mute, I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Kendra, I'll need you to answer out loud.
I do.
Okay, great. All right, thanks everyone. Mr. Snyder, are you ready to proceed?
I am.
All right, great. The floor is yours.
Okay. Today we're looking at this property on Windisch Avenue. There was a previous house constructed on this parcel that was lost to fire prior to this project. New owner or potential owner of this property like to build a new house on here. The house is seeking variance from the front yard setback that is required under the base zoning code. The house is oriented to the street and as far away from the property as the previous home was on this location. And the limiting factor here is the brow of the topography or the valley behind this house. It's easy to see, particularly from Cages or a Google on this street, that the line of houses and the setback for the houses is on a diagonal compared to the street, and it's all driven by that that line of the crest of the hill there. So this house, again, if you take it in that context, it appears to me that all the houses are in that same kind of setback from the street, kind of in an arc following the topography of the hill. So in that regard, it's consistent with the other properties and houses that already exist on here. So that's really the gist of our request at this time, is just that front yard setback requirement variance be granted, so this project is viable because of the topography of the site.
Gotcha. So there was a house on the property that recently was burned down or demolished, or both, and you want to construct a new single-family home on the property, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And there are some zoning standards that the proposed new home does not meet. What are those standards?
The standard that this one does not meet is the front yard setback requirement. And if you give me a second, I can try to find that one. See here, the houses on the street varied from the depth from the street from 300 feet to 50 feet from the street, again, based on topography of the house. There's one house on this one that's set down in the valley, so it kind of skews that average. The average setback here is 69 feet if you take all of those in aggregate. And I believe we are requesting that be reduced to 50 feet to reflect the topography of this particular site.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're requesting a 50-foot front yard setback, and the requirement is
by averaging the street, it would be 69. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And is there? I see on the staff report here that there is a side yard variance request as well. Is that something you have?
See here, I don't have that in my notes, but I'll be honest, I did not have the staff report in front of me when we did this originally. But yeah, that being the case, we would ask for the side yard setback as well.
Let me go out of order here a little bit and see if maybe Ms. Meehan, who prepared the staff report, can give us a rundown of what your analysis revealed the zoning relief that's necessary today, what that is.
Sure, thank you. So along Windisch Avenue, there are several homes that have different setbacks. Mr. Snyder, I believe, referenced one that sits back about 300 feet, 3499 Windisch. That is not within the 300-foot calculation, so that was not figured in with the averaging. However, it is very close, so they need, on the plans that I reviewed, they need a special exception of 19 feet from a 63.6 foot average front yard setback. And then on the side, because the length of the house exceeds 70 feet, once you get past that, you start getting into increments of 10 feet beyond 60. There is a requirement in the code that you have an increased side yard setback. So this side yard, looking at the drawing here to the left, it varies from 10 to 10.6. A 1 foot additional setback is needed on this side. They would need to have an 11-foot setback here. And that is due to the increased length of the house. I believe it is by the plans 77 and 2 7/8 feet long. So they need the relief from the side yard and then also the special exception for the front yard averaging.
Okay. So to be clear, because the home is deeper, or once the home is goes past 60 feet in terms of depth, it restricts what the side yard setbacks are. Is that right?
So the side yard setback gets larger for
Yeah.
every 10 feet beyond 60. So in this case, because we're at 70 and a little beyond 70, but not to 80, they needed an additional foot of side yard setback
Got
due
it.
to that increased length of the house.
Got it. So based on that, the requirement for the side yard setback is 11 feet from the side boundary line. And they're
Correct.
proposing that the home be 10 feet from the side boundary line. Is that
That's
right?
correct. So this is in an SF10 zoning district. So the 10-foot is what the underlying setback is. But again, because of the increased length of the house, they need that additional 1 foot of side yard setback.
Got it. Okay. And assuming this is north-south oriented, we're just talking about the left side here.
That's correct. They're more than compliant on the right side when
Okay.
looking at the house.
Got it. All right. And then the other piece is just the front yard setback, the distance from the front of the house to the front property line. And based on the averaging of abutting properties, what do you have as the front yard setback standard for them?
So based on the averaging, it should be 63.6 feet.
Okay. But from I assume this point here and at the tip here in the front, they're proposing what?
That is 44 feet 6 inches. So it would be a 19-foot special exception.
Okay. Right. Thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Thanks for that clarity. Mr. Snyder, anything in response to those comments from Kate?
No, I appreciate the clarification on the side yard requirement there, but yes, we would be seeking that 1 yard variance on that side only.
Okay, got it. And I think you said in your initial comments that these setbacks are more or less consistent with the home that burnt down.
Yeah, our understanding is at least the front yard setback was consistent with where the original house had sat on the property. Again, all these houses being set by the location of the crest of the hill behind.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say at this time?
No, I'm good right now. Thank you.
All right. I think we'll move on to any public comment, if there is any, to the Thorntons. Anything you'd like to add to the conversation here?
So we were just wanting to confirm, which now has been confirmed, that there was not a need for a side yard setback on our side. It's only on the 3481 side. So that was, we logged on for clarification and we've got that. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. No problem. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Jackie, sorry, Miss Brum.
Yeah, I
Anything
don't
you'd like
have
to
any
add?
comments. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Great. Kate, thank you for your clarification earlier. Is there anything you'd like to add in terms of your analysis of the project and whether you are recommending approval?
So I would just to confirm what Mr. Snyder has said, I have a KDIS online pulled up and the former footprint of the previous home does still show up on here. So I did measure and I can confirm that the placement of the house and the setback is very similar to what is being proposed for the new house. So because that is on here, I can see what it was. I did also check some of the previous files on this house just to confirm some other details. So yes, the placement of the new house will be very much in the same have about the same setback as the previous house. The configuration of the house is different. But again, the front setback is pretty much in line with where the previous house was.
Okay. All right, great. And Ms. Meehan, you, in your opinion, that's consistent with the character of the neighborhood and the surrounding land development?
Correct. The house at 3461, the Thornton's residence, does sit a bit closer to the street. But then 3481, 3495 sit farther back, and then 3499 sits very far back on the lot. So there is, a decent amount of, I guess, nonconformity on the street as far as the front setbacks go.
All right, great. Thanks, Ms. Meehan.
Mhm.
Appreciate your analysis and your staff report.
Sure.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. Snyder, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Anything you'd like to say in response to any of Ms. Meehan's comments or anyone else?
No, I appreciate Ms. Meehan's analysis of all this. I think it's consistent with our design intent and what we'd initially based this design on, to try to stay in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and where the original house was. So,
Anything else in closing or otherwise before we adjourn?
no, sir.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I have had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. Based on that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, I do think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. And so I am going to approve the application. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. As soon as I finish that, I put into a PDF and I'll email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all have a copy of that decision, really just moments after it's complete. Mr. Snyder, once you have that copy, Ms. Meehan can approve the permitting for the zoning on her end. And you can take the next steps.
All right, we appreciate your help. Thank you.
Sure. If anyone has any questions about any of this or any process questions after the hearing, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer any questions. Or if anyone would like a status update on the decision, again, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'm happy to provide that to you. But approximately 2 weeks, you should be getting an email from me. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time, your testimony here today. Hope you have a wonderful